I'm just going to go over the Immerse to Learn course on vernier and dial calipers. I'm a fan of the dial caliper, but I was just actually playing around with this here. You can actually test out the caliper before you do it, because I was having a hard time reading this thing. So you want to know where 0 is, and if I zoom up on this, because if you count the revolutions, that'd be one way of doing it, but you need to know where the 0.1 and the 0.2 is. So if I move out one revolution, so I'm looking at this line right here. So if you push these together, that is this right here. This is your 0, 0 line. So if I bring it out to like here, I'm just putting random right now. So this would be 1.3, and then you add the dial. So that'd be 365 right there. All right, I'm going to go back.
Verify measurement.
Sorry. I'm going to go all the way back to the dreaded vernier caliper here.
How to read a vernier caliper.
Oh, however they pronounce it. Honestly, I don't even like using these things, but if you get this right or not, that's I'm not really worried about that. But you knowing how to use it, you got this is external, this is internal, and this is the depth side. It is actually a fourth way of using it, but you gotta be pushing on this thumb wheel. You gotta have constant pressure on that thumb wheel, and if you're doing internal, you're pulling. So you're either pushing on this, and this is a good example of using the flat area to your advantage. How this works is, I wouldn't worry about this too much. This has got a metric scale up here and it's got a inch scale down here. Probably makes more sense on the metric side, but right here it's between 3 and 4. This is your 0 line right here. So each little line is 0.025, because 0.1 would be 0.25 4 times, which is like 4 quarters. And this would be like the pennies. So this one is, I'm not sure it's at 0.4 or exactly. So if it's at 0.4, that's not to 1 inch exactly yet. And the in-between, this is going to be the in-between. So if I'm on line number 1 and none of these line up, that means it's 425. If it's in between, this is your in-between section right here. Up in this section is probably makes more sense on the, let me get that active exercise there.
Outer measure.
We can play with the caliper. But the old timers, before dial calipers, this is how they did it. Sometimes you had to get a little magnifier to
Exercise 1. Reading a
Alright, so this one you can actually grab also, play with it. So on the metric side, this is 0, 0 up here. So that would be 10 millimeters right there, or somewhere around there. And you can see here, 10, 11, 12, and this would be the in-betweens, like 10.4 or something like that. It probably makes more sense on the metric because it's not so many lines in between here. So obviously digital is easy to read, but I like the dial because I'm looking at the dial for when it stops moving at its low point, which you cannot simulate it. You have to do it. And the old verbiage of measure twice, cut once can't be more, you really want to do that all the time, because we're on the dial caliper here.
Reading dial calipers.
When I'm on this, measuring this, and if I have it tilted at all, remember this is a flat surface along here. If it's tilted, it's going to be slightly big. And if you're trying to measure like in a lathe or you haven't got the part like right in front of you, you're going to see this dial. The dial will go up, then it'll go down, and it'll go back up again because you want to get it on the smallest number. So if you see the dial go down to the smallest number and take the reading, like this is 0.510, so that's 510 thousandths. Take it off, put it on again, and get 510. If you don't get that, it's probably because you got a tilter or something. You know, it's really about this flat surface against this flat surface. And that even applies on a round cylinder. Let me go up here. One of these exercises had a round cylinder. Come on. Measuring cylinders right here.
Exercise 2. Measure cylinders. Exercise.
Oh, went too far.
Exercise 1. Read an analog diagram. Exercise 2.
So this
Measure
one
cylinders.
here.
Exercise instructions.
All right. So if you hit start, here's a cylinder, right? So this one here, I try to get it in as deep as I can to get on that flat area. So this is, even though it's round, it's a line in this direction. So you got to have this flat surface against the line, which is like a line of flatness. So it's really about, if you're looking at it like right now, it's really not about this, it's about this. That's your angle of attack. So you go down, the dial will go down, and you go out the other way, and the dial start going up again. So you're looking for the lowest portion. Now when you're using digital, you have to get that feel, the feel of where it flattens out. So until you get that feel, I would go to measure twice or more to verify it's correct. So you're looking, and your digital will have, and a caliper is really only accurate to thousandths. Those calipers have a fourth digit on there, and it's at 5 or 0. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's like the in-between thousandths. I would disregard that fourth digit on a caliper. It's only good to 3 digits and within a thousandth or 2. It's a very good instrument, but nowhere as good as the micrometer for super accurate readings. But it's very precise. A lot easier to read than a vernier caliper, either one. But you got to get that feel, especially on the round objects. You got to get, when you're feeling, you want to get, there's a flat surface there, and it's flat against flat. That's when you know you're parallel to it. You're not a little bit crooked. So what happens is you end up, oh, I guess I didn't do good. It ends up a little bit crooked, which makes it too big. It's always going to be too big. So you got to get that feel for it. Okay, that's about all I got to say on this, because this is actually pretty good. Just you get the vernier, you don't get the vernier. I wouldn't worry about that part. But dial and digital. Digital, it's obviously pretty easy to read. But so if I go up to show navigation, digital calipers.
Taking measurements with digital calipers.
Right. It says 0.700 there. If it says 700 with a 5 on the end, forget that 5. Don't worry about that. You just want to read 3 digits. 0.7. 700. Don't disregard the fourth one if your caliper has a fourth digit on it. So this one is, I thought I could play with this one.
Taking measurements with digital caliper.
Well, let me do it.
Exercise 1.
Here we are. Right.
Measure cylinders. Exercise instruction.
So this one here, we're just moving it in and out. Pretty obvious to read. 0 inch millimeter. And let me re-zero it. But I think all calipers should only have 3 digits. It shouldn't have 4 digits. But the nice thing about the digital calipers, I can re-zero this anywhere, and I could use it to compare instead of like trying to remember the numbers. or I can switch the metric on the fly. And they usually, most calipers go 6 inches, or what would that be a metric? 25, approximately 25 millimeters an inch. So 6 times 25 would be 150 millimeters. Yeah, 110. Okay. All right, that's enough of me. Talk to you later.